outcomes. But if we, for example, take the average GDP per capita and the average inequality of countries we used to consider ourselves similar to, so France, Germany, the Netherlands, Australia and Germany, not the uber-rich America and not the kind of very, very equal Norway, but countries we think of ourselves as similar, all of which are now richer than us and all 5 of which are more equal than us. Well, if we just had the average income and inequality of those countries, a typical household in Britain would be £8,300 better off. So
stay in the loop with all the latest updates that matter most to pensioners and the working class by subscribing to our channel. From crucial news on pensions and benefits to important developments in workers' rights and social policies, we've got you covered. Don't miss out on the information that impacts your life. Hit that subscribe button and stay informed. Hello everyone. You just saw the new appointed Pensions Minister. We are interested if he will deliver or not, as some will say he is promising, and some will say he looks like he will bring more chaos to the pensioners. British pensioners, policy blunders, and our new pension minister, can he fix it? Ladies and gentlemen, gather around because today we're talking about something that affects millions of lives, pensions. That's right, the backbone of financial security for our elderly population. It's a subject that deserves serious attention, especially now that Labour, under Keir Starmer, is in power. While they talk a big game about helping the people, critics argue that Labour's track record is more about empty promises than real solutions. The Labour leadership, especially under Starmer, has been criticised for flip-flopping on key issues, failing to inspire confidence and offering vague promises with little substance. But perhaps the new pensions minister will finally get things right.
Well, we all want jobs and we'd also like some prosperity. I mean, the bigger picture for Britain is getting the wrong kind of growth. It's that we haven't been having any decent growth. We've had half the productivity growth of other large OECD countries over the last 10 years. And whoever wins the next election does need a serious plan to start turning that around.
First up, we've got Thorsten Bell, the freshly appointed Pensions Minister, stepping into what we'll kindly call a bit of a mess. You see, Bell has previously been pretty vocal about the triple lock, that fancy little mechanism designed to make sure pensions go up each year by either inflation, average earnings, or 2.5%, whichever is highest. Sounds good, right? Well, Bell's past take was more along the lines of, yeah, this thing's costing us a fortune. Maybe we should rethink it. And guess what? Labour's stance under Starmer hasn't exactly been reassuring either. Critics say that Labour loves to promise the world, but when it comes to delivering, they're suddenly experts at making excuses. But don't worry, folks, Labour has sworn up and down that they'll keep the triple lock. So Bell's job is to smile, nod, and pretend he never said anything about scrapping it. Politics, huh? It's like trying to argue you're on a diet while stuffing your face with cake. The real question is, will Bell be better than his predecessors, who, let's be honest, didn't exactly cover themselves in glory? Starmer's Labour hasn't inspired much confidence so far, with critics pointing out that they've perfected the art of doing nothing while looking busy. Maybe, just maybe, Bell will bring some fresh ideas to the table, or at least avoid making things worse, which frankly would already be an improvement. Supermarket vouchers, a lifeline or a band-aid? Meanwhile, down in Sussex, there's a bit of good news for struggling pensioners. Hundreds of households will soon be receiving letters about £200 supermarket vouchers, thanks to the Household Support Fund. This is aimed at helping families who don't qualify for pension credit and miss out on the winter fuel payment, because apparently being just above the qualifying line means you can totally afford to heat your home and buy groceries with ease. While it's great that some people will get help, it does beg the question, why are we relying on emergency funds and vouchers to support pensioners in the first place? Shouldn't a wealthy country like the UK have a system in place that doesn't leave its elderly citizens choosing between eating and heating? Critics of Starmer's Labour point out that while they love handing out piecemeal solutions, they seem completely incapable of creating long-term reforms that actually solve the root problems. freebies for pensioners. Keep them or cut them. Speaking of support for pensioners, let's talk about those universal benefits everyone loves to debate. Free bus passes, winter fuel payments, and free TV licenses. These are lifelines for many pensioners, but there are whispers in some corners about means testing these benefits. The idea is that maybe only the pensioners who actually need them should get them. Revolutionary, right? Of course, this comes with its own set of issues. Means testing sounds great until you realize it means more bureaucracy, more paperwork, and inevitably more pensioners falling through the cracks. Plus, who gets to decide who needs these benefits? It's a slippery slope. But fear not, some genius suggested that artificial intelligence could handle this whole means testing business, because if there's one thing we all trust, it's AI making life-altering decisions for vulnerable people. What could possibly go wrong? And with Starmer's Labour touting themselves as tech-savvy and modern, you can bet they'll be first in line to hand over these critical decisions to algorithms. The bigger picture. Will anything actually change?
Is that a normal Britain is a really great place to live, and there's lots of grounds for optimism, not just because Britain's good at lots of the things that the 21st century economy will be about, but actually we just think about the big problems facing us. We're a low growth economy and a high inequality.
So, where does that leave us? On one hand, we've got a new pensions minister who might shake things up or might just keep things ticking along in the same old dysfunctional way. On the other hand, we've got pensioners relying on emergency vouchers, battling with a DWP that seems to have a knack for forgetting to tell people about important changes and facing the possibility of losing universal benefits. And let's not forget the looming question about the triple lock. Sure, Labour says they'll keep it, but how long can they hold out before someone decides it's too expensive and starts quietly looking for a way to scrap it? After all, promises are one thing, actually, following through is a whole other story. Under Starmer's Labour, critics worry that pensions policy might just become another exercise in political posturing, with little actual progress to show for it. Final thoughts, hope for the future. Look, we can joke all we want about the chaos that is British pension policy, but at the end of the day, this stuff matters. It matters to the millions of pensioners who depend on these benefits to get by, and it matters to all of us who hope to one day retire without worrying about whether we can afford to live. Maybe Thorsten Bell will turn out to be a breath of fresh air. Maybe he'll bring some common sense to the table and actually make things better for pensioners, or maybe he'll just be another name on the long list of politicians who made big promises and delivered little. Only time will tell. In the meantime, if you're a pensioner, keep an eye out for those supermarket vouchers. And if you're not, maybe start thinking about your future, because at this rate, we might all be relying on emergency vouchers and AI-decided benefits someday. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, when it comes to pensions, expect the unexpected. Or, better yet, expect nothing at all. It's less disappointing that way.
I'm saying that as a keep your eye on the prize. Sorting ourselves out, becoming a more normal economy measured as against similar-ish economies is transformational.